The Taliban's hidden carnage, hundreds dead in femicide wave. In Afghanistan, in a chilling expose of Afghanistan's hidden horrors, new research has unveiled a harrowing epidemic of violence against women under Taliban rule. Since 2021, a staggering 332 femicides have been documented, alongside 840 cases of gender based violence, a relentless assault occurring almost daily. Even more alarming, these figures are believed to be just the tip of the iceberg, according to David Osborn, the director of Afghan Witness Project, which put together this report. The Taliban's iron grip on media and ruthless suppression of dissent have plunged the true extent of this crisis into darkness. From forced marriages and sexual slavery to arbitrary arrests, the regime's gender apartheid has effectively erased women from public life. The investigation also reveals a disturbing trend of mysterious deaths among prominent Afghan women, such as popular YouTuber Hora Sadat, hinting at a sinister campaign to silence female voices. As the world looks away, Afghanistan's women are facing an unprecedented assault on their very existence, trapped in a nightmare where every day brings new dangers and deepening oppression. So, this was very important to highlight because this is the first time this is an extremely difficult kind of report to execute. And this is the first report to actually look at or attempt to examine the rates of these kinds of murders and this kind of violence since the Taliban's takeover. And what was very interesting is this group called the Afghan Witness Project attempts to do this through essentially gathering open source information. And what they did was kind of look and collect as much information as they can from Afghan media about these types of crimes occurring and who is maybe implicated or suspected in perpetrating these crimes. And so basically, this was report just based on data that was publicly available and what was reported on. So that's why they're saying that this is only the tip of the iceberg because again, it's just what actually made it into the media. And what is so shocking is that out of the over 300 murders of women that have happened since the Taliban takeover, over half of them implicate actual Talib members themselves in the perpetration of this violence. And then, it's also happening in society at large, but a huge proportion of it is actually done by the Taliban itself. Um Armin brought this up. Yeah, so this is a case of this YouTuber. Her name was Hora Sadat, and she would kind of do vlogs and stuff about her life as a woman in Afghanistan, and she continued even after the Taliban took over. And she died very mysteriously, I believe, in a people believe that she was poisoned. That she was poisoned and then her death was covered up after the Taliban took over. It's extremely suspicious. And then so for all the other Afghan YouTubers, female YouTubers that are out there, some of them still continue, but they basically don't film outside of the house. They do it completely within their own property, and a lot of even still considering that completely hide their face when um putting out content. Um Armin, what are your thoughts on this?
Um, do we know the motivation behind this? Why this is like? Is there any information for why this is happening? I mean, the
Why
obvious.
the
I
death
know.
of a
I mean,
specific YouTuber,
I
or
have an answer. I'm just saying. I just want to know if the report identifies the reason behind this.
what do you mean by the reason?
The factors behind why something like this is happening in Afghanistan. Like, does it identify? Is it brave enough to identify the ideology that causes this? Like, is it just a report at what's happening, or does it mention the backwardness of the ideology that makes this thing possible. I'm just wondering if that is part of the report or not. So I'm assuming not, I guess.
I actually didn't have
Oh.
the time to read the full-blown report from the organization itself. Now,
Mhm.
reporting on this report certainly does not identify those things. No.
Okay. Oh, just wondering. Just by the way, this is gender. Are you in favor of calling this gender apartheid? Like, do you think the word
100%.
apartheid
Yes,
is?
I am.
Yeah. Okay. This
100%
is
yes, I am.
gender apartheid. So if people want to call it actual apartheid, this is what it looks like. Yeah.
Seriously. I'm doing a quick skim of the actual report right now.
By the way, somebody is trying to insult me in the live chat, and it's very funny. Can I highlight them? So, Hamid is saying, Armin pussy giver sister. This is the first time. I don't know what that insult means, but it's kind of funny. And then Hamid is saying, Armin gay kid. Huh. This guy's trying sakes. I don't know why he's so upset with me, but he's trying so hard to offend me. But keep trying. Okay, but go on.
Long story short, the report does not talk about ideology. Ideological motivations.
By the way, the thing is, I just wanted to mention to people, things are not going to get any better, it seems like, in Afghanistan. We're moving in the wrong direction as we speak, and there's no force in the world that could come and fix that right now. This is not looking good. Like, there's no optimism here. And this is, I don't know what else to say. Like, the consequences, like, the Taliban is the natural reflection of the backward ideology that is prevalent within Afghanistan right now. So the problem is that in Iran, the understanding is that the people there are very different from their government, right? The ideology, there's a wide gap between what the people want and what the government want. The people are more liberal minded, the people are more secular minded. And that's why if this regime topples, Iran will become secular and liberal. However, the reason why removing Taliban from Afghanistan was a failed project by the United States is because the Taliban is a more accurate reflection of the ideas and the values that is prevalent in Afghanistan. I mean, you wouldn't be able to tell that if you were focusing on Kabul's universities, like if you were just looking at young people in the city center among the more educated elite in Afghanistan. If you watch videos from these people, you were like, oh my God, amazing. Look at these educated and some feminists. I mean, feminism in the version of it that makes sense, right? Like, look at these educated women, look at these young girls wanting education, wanting freedom. And if you see so many reports like that, you're like, oh my God, these women, these people are so liberal minded and so secular and so, you know, thirsty for knowledge and progress, right? But again, we see those videos more because we like them. But that's not actually a reflection of what the mindset of most people in Afghanistan is like. What the mindset of most people in Afghanistan is like is the Taliban. Like, I mean, even if they have the criticism for Taliban's, management or anti-corruption capabilities, they don't have a problem with their Islamic ideology. They want the vast majority of people in Afghanistan want Sharia. They want Sharia. So that means that there is no force that could come and change that until there is a fundamental change from the bottom up. And that's that doesn't seem to be true for this generation or not even the next one. That seems like if Afghanistan is gonna get out of this shithole that it is right now, it's going to take a much longer time and than a lot of people are hoping, including these women, including all the girls in Afghanistan who are crying because all their dreams are being crushed. A lot of them had so many dreams that it's just all gone away. Um, we like it's sad, but there's also no fix. There's no fix for the current situation in Afghanistan.
Oh, it's absolutely devastating. And this is, I mean, exactly why the rates of completed and attempted self deletion have completely skyrocketed.
Right.
It's,
Um.
I mean, devastating doesn't even put it into words.
No. No. So I don't agree with this. Semper is saying Taliban defeated nothing. USA left. Screw you. That's not true. USA was not able to maintain being there. Right. I mean, the USA did. When I say not able to, if the United States really wanted to, they could change that. They could change the whole situation. But it's not. It's just the opportunity. I mean, the cost benefit analysis just makes no sense for United States, right? I mean, one thing that both Biden and Trump agreed on is that they need to leave Afghanistan. So you could argue whether the method that Biden left Afghanistan was not managed well, right? But at the end of the day, both Biden and Trump agreed on the fact that they need to leave Afghanistan because it just didn't make sense for the American taxpayer to just keep continuing providing so much resources to maintain order. And I mean in that area. Like the democracy in Afghanistan was a fake democracy if it had to constantly be kept up with American firepower. If you need that much of a support to maintain that democracy, then it's a fake democracy. If it all collapsed when another nation state is using the taxpayer of its own citizens to keep your country up, like why do they owe you that? Why do Americans owe you that? They don't owe you that, right? And Americans' interests were somewhere else. Americans' interests were focused more on the Pacific and on China, especially, and on Russia, and maybe defending Israel. They weren't getting the return on their investment being in Afghanistan. It was the right thing to do. I mean, it wasn't done in the proper way, but leaving Afghanistan was something that the American government owed its own citizen. They can't just stay there for freaking ever. At some point, you are responsible for um, maintaining your own country. Why do you want other people to come and give you democracy? You should give yourself democracy. I mean, if you want it. Doesn't seem like you want it. And here's the thing: like Taliban didn't need to defeat anything because the Taliban is such a natural reflection of what is um, of Afghanistan that when the United States left, the forces at that war in Afghanistan weren't even resisting it. Taliban didn't even have to fight to be able to take over Kabul. They just had to march all the way to Kabul. Everybody with a gun, when they saw the Taliban coming, marching towards the Kabul, they both the military and the local tribes that had the military power that a lot of people thought that they would stand up to Taliban. As soon as they saw the Taliban coming, they recognized them as the legitimate power for this region. Nobody resisted that. The Taliban just walked all the way to Kabul. This is what happens when you're the natural reflection. You're the state that is more accurately representing the nation.
There was that one small region that did have some.
Yeah, the north, the king in the
Yeah.
north. The king in the north. Yes, but where did that get them?
So heartbreaking.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so guys, when you believe very much in Islam, then you don't believe in democracy. In other countries where they have Islam and democracy is because they don't take their Islam as seriously. The more you take Islam seriously, the less you take democracy seriously, right? So if you want democracy, you have to fight Islam.
Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.